The sky turned red as another dawn broke over what remained of Seoul. Kim Hana lifted her tired eyes to watch the alien patrol ships circling above the mining complex. 112 years had passed since the Dominion arrived and claimed Earth as their own. Hana grabbed her worn metal shovel and joined the line of workers marching toward the eastern pit. Like everyone else, she wore the standard gray jumpsuit with her worker number, a 22,187, stamped across her back. Unlike the others, Hana had a secret. The neural implant at the base of her skull sparked occasionally, sending a sharp pain through her head. These implants kept humans obedient, blocking independent thought and enforcing compliance. But Hana's didn't work properly. A manufacturing defect, perhaps. She'd learned to fake the blank stare and shuffling movements of the controlled workers around her. Faster, barked a Dominion overseer, its 4 glowing eyes scanning the line. The alien stood nearly 8 feet tall, with blue-gray skin that seemed to shimmer in the morning light. The workers quickened their pace. In the mines, Hana pushed carts loaded with rare minerals the aliens prized. The work was hard, but it gave her time to observe. She noticed things, patterns in guard rotations, weak points in fences, and most importantly, other humans whose eyes occasionally flashed with awareness despite their implants. During the midday meal break, workers sat in rows, mechanically consuming protein paste. Hana kept her head down, eating slowly while watching 3 Dominion guards drag a worker from his seat. Defective unit, one guard announced. Production below acceptable levels for 3 consecutive days. The man didn't struggle as they pulled him away. He couldn't. Most implants prevented any resistance against the Dominion. Hana gripped her spoon tightly, forcing herself to remain still. That evening, as workers filed back to their sleeping quarters, Hana heard the sounds. Sharp cracks followed by silence. Executions were common. The Dominion had no use for inefficient workers. In her narrow sleeping pod, Hana stared at the ceiling, fighting back tears. 3 more gone today. Yesterday it was 2. How long before humans disappeared entirely? She rolled onto her side and noticed something scratched into the wall. A small symbol that hadn't been there before, 3 lines intersecting to form a star. She'd seen similar marks elsewhere, near the water recycling station, by the eastern fence, underneath a work table. Always in places only humans would notice. Hana traced the symbol with her finger, wondering what it meant. 3 nights later, she found out. After lights out, when the dormitory was silent except for the breathing of exhausted workers, Hana noticed a shadow moving between the pods. A tall, thin man with sharp eyes crouched beside her bed. "You're awake," he whispered. "Really awake?" Hana nodded cautiously. "I'm Park Tae-ho. Follow me," quietly. Hana hesitated only briefly before slipping out of her pod. Breaking curfew meant death if caught, but staying meant slow extinction anyway. They moved silently through the dormitory, past sleeping workers. Tae-ho led her to a maintenance closet, pressed his hand against a specific spot on the wall, and a hidden panel slid open. Beyond it was a narrow tunnel. "Quickly," Tae-ho urged. The tunnel led deep underground to a small room where 5 people waited. Unlike the blank-faced workers above, these people had clear, alert eyes. A resistance cell. "This is Kim Hana," Tae-ho announced. "She's like us, immune to the implants." An older woman named Kang Minji stepped forward. "How long have you been pretending?" "Since I was 12, Hana answered. "Almost 10 years. The group exchanged looks of surprise and respect. "We've been watching you," Tae-ho explained. "You're careful, but we know the signs." "What is this place?" Hana asked, looking around at the cramped room with its mix of stolen Dominion technology and makeshift human tools. "The beginning," said Lee Junho, a muscular man with burn scars covering one side of his face. "We're gathering others like us. People whose implants failed or who found ways to resist them." Minji handed Hana a small device that looked like a smooth black stone. "This disrupts Dominion monitoring signals. Keep it with you." "Why show yourselves to me now?" Hannah asked. Tahoe's expression darkened. We're running out of time. The Dominion is starting to replace human workers with automated systems. Once we're no longer useful, they'll dispose of us all, Hannah finished. Chunho nodded grimly. But we've discovered something, a weakness, and we need your help to exploit it. For the first time in years, Hannah felt something unfamiliar bloom in her chest. Hope. The secret underground room became Hannah's second home over the following weeks. Each night, she would slip away from her sleeping pod, careful to time her movements between the Dominion Guard patrols. The Resistance had mapped every camera and motion sensor in the complex. The Dominion believes humans are simple creatures, explained Li Junho as he showed Hannah how to disable her tracking implant temporarily. They never imagined we could understand their technology, let alone resist it. Hannah learned that the Resistance had cells across what remained of human territories. They communicated using modified Dominion tech and old human methods like physical message drops and simple codes. We've discovered something important, Kang Minji told the group one night. She was their scientist, having worked in a Dominion research facility before escaping. She placed a small container on the table. Inside was a dark blue crystal that seemed to pulse with inner light. This mineral is found deep in our minds. The Dominion calls it worthless and discards it, but we've learned it has unique properties. Minji carefully opened the container. It disrupts their neural networks while having no effect on humans. Tahoe nodded. We've been collecting and refining it for months. The Dominion doesn't even notice. They think it's mining waste. Hannah looked at the crystal with wonder. So this could disable their weapons, their control systems. Exactly, said Minji. But we need more, and we need to distribute it to other Resistance cells. This was where Hannah became valuable. Her position in the mines gave her access to the mineral, and her ability to move among implant-controlled workers without detection made her the perfect courier. Every day, Hannah secretly collected small amounts of the blue crystal from waste piles. She hid them in hollow teeth of her meal fork, in tiny pockets sewn into her boots, anywhere the guards wouldn't check. On her third week with the Resistance, Tahoe approached her with a new assignment. We need to send information to the Western Cell, he said, handing her a small data chip. You'll deliver it during tomorrow's work rotation. The Western mining sector was separated from Hannah's by a heavily guarded checkpoint. Workers rarely moved between sectors, but occasionally they were reassigned for special projects. The next morning, Hannah's supervisor announced that 10 workers would be temporarily transferred to help with an equipment installation. Hannah had been placed on the list. The Resistance had friends in unexpected places. As the selected workers marched through the checkpoint, Hannah kept her face blank and her movements mechanical. Dominion guards scanned each worker's implant as they passed. Hannah's pulse quickened as the scanner passed over her faulty device, but the guard merely waved her through. In the Western sector, Hannah followed instructions she had memorized, volunteering for a specific waste disposal task that would take her near the sector's water processing plant. As she dumped a container of mining debris, a maintenance worker bumped into her. Sorry, the woman mumbled, but her eyes were clear and alert. In that brief contact, Hannah passed the data chip to her. That night, Hannah returned to find the Resistance cell buzzing with excitement. The Western cell confirms they're ready, Tahoe announced. We begin testing the destruction devices tomorrow. The plan was simple but dangerous. Small amounts of the refined crystal would be placed near Dominion communication relays. If Minji's calculations were correct, the devices would create interference without alerting the aliens to sabotage. Hannah placed the first device herself, hiding it inside a ventilation duct near the main command center. For 3 tense days, nothing seemed to happen. Then, on the 4th morning, confusion erupted among the guards. Their communications were failing intermittently, orders getting scrambled or lost entirely. It's working, whispered Chunho as they watched a Dominion supervisor repeatedly attempt to contact its command base. The aliens suspected a technical malfunction, not deliberate interference. They brought in new equipment, but the problems persisted wherever the crystals were hidden. One evening, as Hannah returned from her shift, she noticed one of the Dominion overseers watching her. Unlike the others, this one, called Mrek according to its identification marker, seemed more observant. Its 4 eyes followed her movements with unusual intensity. "Worker A22,187, it called out suddenly. Hannah froze, her heart pounding. Had she been disco? Verd. "Your efficiency ratings exceed standard parameters," Mrek said, its translator making the alien speech sound flat and mechanical. "Report for advanced skill assessment tomorrow." As the alien moved away, Hannah exchanged a quick glance with Tahoe, who was working nearby. His subtle headshake conveyed his concern. Promotion meant closer observation and greater danger. But it might also mean access to more sensitive areas of the Dominion complex, areas where a larger strike could be planned. Hannah stood in the assessment chamber, keeping her face blank while her mind raced. 5 Dominion supervisors observed her from behind a transparent barrier as she completed increasingly complex tasks. She was careful to work well, but not too well, showing skill, but not intelligence that might raise suspicion. "Subject demonstrates above-average physical coordination," noted the lead examiner, a Dominion official taller than the others with distinctive red markings on its blue-gray skin. Mrek stood nearby, its 4 eyes fixed on Hannah. "This one shows unusual focus. Recommend placement in technical division rather than continued manual labor." Hannah felt a chill. Technical division workers underwent more thorough neural scans. Her faulty implant would surely be discovered. After the assessment, she received new orders. Beginning tomorrow, she would work in the communications center, monitoring transmission equipment. It was both a danger and an opportunity. That night, the Resistance members gathered in their hidden room. "This changes everything," Tahoe said. "You'll have access to their central communication network." Minji looked worried. "But the risk is extreme. Technical workers are scanned weekly." "I can help with that," said a new voice. A young man named Bai Hyun stepped forward with a small device. "This will mask your implant's malfunction during their basic scans. It won't fool a deep scan, but it should work for routine checks." Hyun had been a medical assistant before the Resistance rescued him. His knowledge of Dominion medical technology had saved many with faulty implants. The next day, Hannah began her new assignment. The communications center was located in the heart of the complex, a vast room filled with alien technology. Human workers monitored equipment under the watchful eyes of Dominion supervisors. Most humans here still had functioning implants, moving mechanically as they performed their duties. Over the following weeks, Hannah learned the communication systems while secretly mapping their vulnerabilities. She discovered that the Dominion relied on a central transmission network to control all operations in the region. Meanwhile, resistance cells across the former Korean peninsula were growing bolder. Small acts of sabotage caused power fluctuations and equipment failures. The Dominion responded by increasing security, but they still believed they were dealing with technical problems, not organized resistance. Then came the news that changed everything. A Dominion force had completely destroyed a labor settlement near what had once been Busan. Thousands of humans killed because of suspected resistance activity. "They're becoming more brutal," Tahoe said grimly during an emergency meeting. "We must act soon or lose everything." Minji revealed their plan. "We've refined enough of the crystal to create disruptors that can temporarily disable Dominion technology on a larger scale. We need to distribute them to all cells for a coordinated attack." Hannah's position in the communications center made her crucial to the plan. She could access transmission schedules and security patrol patterns. As the resistance prepared, Hannah noticed Mrek watching her with increasing frequency. One day, the overseer approached her workstation. "Human efficiency is typically consistent," Mrek said, its translator making the words sound flat. "Yet your performance variations suggest something unusual." Hannah kept her expression neutral. "The equipment requires varying responses, overseer." Mrek's upper eyes narrowed. Perhaps, or perhaps there is more to human capacity than we have calculated. Later that week, Hannah was copying security codes when Rek entered the room unexpectedly. The overseer moved directly to her station and observed her work. "Your species demonstrates surprising resilience," Rek said quietly. "It is admirable." Hannah froze, uncertain how to respond to what sounded almost like a compliment. Rek continued, its voice lowered. "The destruction at Bus N was unnecessary. Some among us questioned such methods." Before Hannah could process this surprising statement, alarms blared throughout the complex. A resistance cell in the northern sector had been discovered. The Dominion response was immediate and brutal. All workers in that sector were being rounded up for implant scanning. That night, despite increased security, the resistance leaders gathered. "We're running out of time," Juno said. "We need to accelerate our plans." Tahoe nodded. "There's a Dominion shuttle arriving tomorrow with high-ranking officials. If we could capture it." "That's suicide," Minji objected. "Not if we use all our disruptors at once," Hannah said. "And not if we have help from inside." She told them about Mrek's strange comments. "I think some of the Dominion may be sympathetic, or at least questioning their leaders." The plan took shape quickly. They would use their remaining crystal disruptors to create confusion, while a small team attempted to capture the incoming shuttle. It was dangerous, perhaps impossible, but they had no choice. As dawn approached, Hannah prepared for her shift, knowing it might be her last day pretending to be just another controlled worker. Tomorrow, everything would change. Rain fell in sheets as Hannah made her way to the landing pad. The Dominion shuttle would arrive in 1 hour. Around the complex, resistance members were in position, each carrying a crystal disruptor hidden in their clothing or equipment. Hannah watched the security monitors in the communications center, her heart racing. 20 resistance fighters would strike simultaneously across the complex, targeting power systems, security controls, and communications relays. "Worker A22,187, a voice said behind her. Hannah turned to see Mrek standing in the doorway. The overseer's 4 eyes studied her intently. "Come with me," Mrek ordered. Had she been discovered? Hannah followed the alien down a corridor and into a small windowless room used for private communications. Once inside, Mrek sealed the door and disabled the monitoring systems. "Your people planned something today," Mrek said without preamble. "It will fail." Hannah kept her face blank. "I don't understand, Overseer. Your implant malfunctions. You are part of the resistance. I have known for some time." Hannah tensed, ready to fight or run, though neither would likely save her. "I will help you," Mrek said, surprising her completely. "Why would you help humans?" Hannah asked, abandoning her pretense. "The Dominion has betrayed its own principles," Mrek explained. "We were once explorers, not conquerors. What we've done to your world, to your people, violates our oldest laws." Mrek turned to a console and displayed a galaxy map. "The Dominion is not what we've claimed. We are a minor power that has violated galactic treaties by enslaving your planet. If other civilizations knew what we have done here." Hannah struggled to process this revelation. "There are other aliens, more powerful ones. Many. The Galactic Council enforces laws protecting developing worlds. Earth was to be left alone to develop naturally. Instead, our leaders saw an opportunity to claim resources and slaves." Mrek showed Hannah the shuttle's flight path. "The arriving officials are coming to evaluate complete automation of mining operations. Once implemented, most human workers will be eliminated as unnecessary." Hannah's blood went cold. "Killed. Yes, I cannot allow this. Your resistance. Land to capture the shuttle is good, but your timing is wrong." Mrek displayed the security rotations. "Here is when you should strike." An hour later, as the shuttle began its descent, the resistance launched their attack. Crystal disruptors activated across the complex, causing Dominion technology to fail in cascading waves. Security doors locked or opened randomly. Communication systems broadcast static or went silent. In the confusion, Hannah led a small team toward the landing pad. Armed with the information Mrek had provided, they avoided security checkpoints and patrol routes. When they encountered guards, the disruptors rendered their weapons useless. The shuttle touched down just as they reached the pad. Dominion officials emerged, confused by the malfunctioning equipment greeting them. Before they could react, the resistance team struck. Using stun weapons designed by Minji using crystal technology, they incapacitated the officials and guards. "We have 7 minutes before systems reset," Hannah called out as they boarded the shuttle. Inside, they found something unexpected: detailed records of Dominion activities across Earth, and more importantly, communication protocols for contacting worlds beyond the Dominion. As alarms blared across the complex, Taiho worked frantically at the shuttle's controls. "I can't pilot this." "Move aside," said a voice from the entrance. Mrek stepped into the shuttle. "I will help, but we must hurry." With Mrek's guidance, they sealed the shuttle and activated its systems. Outside, Dominion forces were regrouping, bringing in equipment unaffected by the disruptors. "Can we escape in this?" Hannah asked. "No," Mrek replied, "but we can send a message that will be heard across the galaxy." The alien's fingers moved across the controls, accessing communication channels unknown to humans. "The Galactic Council maintains emergency frequencies for reporting treaty violations. If we can transmit the records of what has happened here." A massive explosion rocked the landing pad as Dominion forces attempted to disable the shuttle. Systems flickered but held. "We need more time," Mrek said urgently. Outside, the resistance fighters had regrouped. Led by Junho and Minji, they created a defensive perimeter around the shuttle, using the last of their disruptors to hold back the Dominion forces. Inside, Hannah and Taiho helped Mrek compile evidence of Earth's enslavement: mining records, population control data, execution orders, the truth of a century of oppression, ready to be broadcast to the stars. "Transmission ready," Mrek announced as another explosion shook the shuttle. "But our antenna is damaged. We need to boost the signal." Hannah looked at the power systems. "What if we overload the engine core?" "Use all the power at once." "It would destroy the shuttle," Mrek warned. "But would it send the message?" Mrek's upper eyes blinked in what Hannah had learned was a sign of affirmation. "Yes, but whoever stays to initiate it will not survive." Hannah met Taho's eyes. This was what they had fought for: a chance to free humanity, even at the cost of their own lives. The sky above Seoul glowed with strange lights as enormous ships descended through the atmosphere. 3 days had passed since the Resistance's desperate message was sent. 3 days of fierce fighting as humans across the planet rose up against their Dominion oppressors, armed with crystal disruptors, and a century of suppressed rage. Hannah, Taiho, and Mrek had survived the shuttle explosion by seconds, escaping through an emergency hatch moments before the transmission was sent. The blast had disabled Dominion systems across the entire complex, allowing the resistance fighters to seize control. Now, as golden morning light spilled across the horizon, Hannah stood on a hilltop watching the massive vessels settle in the distance. They dwarfed any Dominion craft she had ever seen, their sleek designs suggesting technology far beyond even their oppressors. "Are they friends or just different enemies?" Taho asked, his arm in a makeshift sling from injuries sustained in the fighting. Mrek, who had remained with the humans despite opportunities to rejoin its own kind, pointed to markings on the largest ship. "Galactic Council vessels. They received our transmission." Within hours, smaller craft deployed from the Council ships, landing at major Dominion control centers worldwide. The aliens that emerged were diverse, some tall and slender with iridescent skin, others compact with multiple limbs, a few even vaguely resembling Earth creatures. All moved with purpose and carried advanced technology. At the Seoul complex, a delegation approached the Resistance headquarters. Hannah, as one who had helped send the distress call, was chosen to meet them alongside other Resistance leaders. The council representatives spoke through translation devices far more sophisticated than Dominion technology. The lead delegate, a towering being with silvery skin, addressed the gathered humans. "We are representatives of the Galactic Council of Sentient Species. Your distress signal included evidence of treaty violations by the Dominion forces. We have come to investigate and, if necessary, intervene." Minji stepped forward. "The Dominion has enslaved Earth for more than a century. Millions have died. Will you help us? The enslavement of developing worlds is forbidden under Council law." The delegate confirmed. "We have already begun containment of Dominion forces planet-wide." Over the next days, Hannah witnessed the rapid dismantling of Dominion control. Council ships systematically disabled Dominion technology. Medical teams removed neural implants from humans, freeing minds long controlled. Relief supplies, food, medicine, and clean water flowed to human communities. 1 week after the Council's arrival, Hannah was summoned to a meeting with high-ranking delegates. They had established a temporary headquarters in what had once been the Dominion Command Center. Kim Hannah, the silver-skinned delegate, greeted her. "Your actions helped alert us to this situation. The Council wishes your input on Earth's future." "Our future should be our own," Hannah said firmly. "We need help, but not new masters." The delegate's expression shifted in what might have been a smile. "The Council does not seek to control Earth. Our laws forbid interference in developing worlds except to prevent harm. Once Dominion forces are removed, we will withdraw." "But we know nothing about surviving in a galaxy with aliens," Hannah pointed out. "We need knowledge, protection. We can offer observer status in the Council, training, limited technology sharing, cultural exchange. But Earth's development must proceed naturally from here." Discussions continued for days. Hannah, along with other resistance leaders, worked to ensure humanity's voice was heard. They wanted no special treatment, just the freedom to rebuild on their own terms. One evening, Hannah found Mrek waiting outside her quarters. The Dominion overseer had been granted asylum by the Council after helping the resistance. "The remaining Dominion leaders will stand trial," Mrek told her, "for crimes against your world and for violating Council treaties." "And what will happen to the other Dominion citizens?" Hannah asked. "The guards, the workers. Those who participated willingly in the oppression will face justice. Others will return to our homeworld under Council supervision." Mrek paused. "I have been asked to serve as liaison between Earth and the Council, if you approve." Hannah studied the alien she had once feared, now an unexpected ally. "I think that would be good." 2 months later, Hannah stood on the same hilltop, watching the last major Council ship depart. They had kept their promise. Dominion forces were gone. Neural implants had been removed. Earth was beginning to heal. Cities were being rebuilt, fields replanted. Children born in freedom were learning a history not controlled by alien masters. Earth had representatives now at the Galactic Council, observing proceedings and learning about their place in a vast community of worlds. Mrek joined her on the hilltop. "Your people accomplished something remarkable," the alien said. "We broke our chains," Hannah replied, watching the sunset paint the sky in colors that seemed brighter than before. In the valley below, the lights of the recovering city began to twinkle in the gathering dusk. "What will you do now?" Mrek asked. Hannah smiled. "Build something better than what came before. And then, someday, travel to the stars on our own terms." As darkness fell completely, they watched Earth's old satellites and new Council beacons trace paths across the night sky, bright symbols of a world finding its way back to freedom and forward to a new place among the stars.